Hello, and welcome back to another tutorial. This time I have got an old Minolta MC Rokkor-PF 1.4 58mm. It's actually a nice lens. It has some issue, and of course the blades in here, I mean, you can see it looks really nice, but that's only until I move the aperture ring, and then the oil you will see. And of course when I close the the aperture ring, it goes a bit slowly. On the back side there will be even more oil. There's a lot, and of course it cannot manage to pull himself to close when it's set on 16. So what to do about that? Well, I will just jump into the lens, and then we need some tools. Of course we need some tweezers, pointy tweezers, a JIS crosshead screwdriver. This is just Vise, which I have, it's PH00, which after I modified by file and grind the with a small needle file, I just filed the very pointy tip off a bit, so it fit perfect in the screw. We need a 1.2mm flathead screwdriver, which in this case is Vise, which I like. Some of them. It's handy to have some dentist tool like those, especially the spade is very good to make that kind of thing. And of course the other one which have pointy ends, some cotton buds, and of course some lens spanner in different shapes. These are old, I mean really old, so I filed and grind the end also here on this one, so it can be used to take off lenses and front plates and back lens group and so on. But I will just dig into this lens, and especially the aperture system, and to begin with that I will take off the nameplate. There are two tiny notches here and there. So in this case I've already loosened it a bit, but if it sits tight then you have to have a good grip on it. It must not at all, because this one sits very tight in this lens. Sometimes they are a bit loose, but then you can use the lens tool to loosen, unscrew it, or you can, that I do sometimes, those sticky cones can also be used for that purpose. So it's a lot easier to unscrew them without any damage, and then just let it fall out. Now I will also take off the front lens group, which there are actually two notches, one there and there. And of course this tool can be used to adjust it, as it can fit on the two notches, and then have a good grip and get it on, loosen it, and then use the the lens tool, rubber tool, to not damage anything, and then it will be a lot easier to unscrew. And then there it is. Just flip it over, and here is the front lens group. Oh, it took also the front ring. Interesting. Okay, no problem. Well, sometimes that was unexpected, I can tell. So that was not part of the okay. Wow, see. Okay, we'll just have it on again. Click. Says there. Now that was not expected, but things happen. Okay, for the aperture blades, we continue. So you can see how oily they actually are. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. So before we continue, my reference mark will be the distance, whatsoever it's called, distance mark, and then I will make a scratch in here so I know where it should sit. That's the aperture system. And actually, before I continue with anything else, I will also do a small mark here, which I haven't done in this lens, and because then I know exactly where it sits. The screw here looks like it's a bit rusty, so I set a mark here, and I also set a mark down here, so I know where things sit. So now I know exactly where the aperture ring, or whatever it calls, where it sits when the aperture is perfect. And also the screw here, the little set screw here, which I will show later, it sits in the middle, so I know where things sit before I unscrew it. I could also set a reference mark here. I mean, somebody else has been into this lens before. I can see they set some mark here, not mine. So my reference mark is the distance mark, and so it goes all the way down to the aperture system, almost. Okay, this front ring will also come off, only 3 screws. So that's it. Off with that. No problem. just put them as I should. Well, now we are even more into the lens, but to come further into it, there are 4 screws, one there, there, that actually hold the aperture assembly in place. So actually, let's take it out. I could also, well, I will show, because they're missing some screws here, and there are 2 different lengths. The longer, which sits there, there, and there. You can see you missed something. And the short one, which is very shorter, I will show it. There, and there. At least they should be there. So to take off the mount with the ring here, I only take out 4 screws. I know there are 8, but only need to take out, to unscrew 4 screws here. So you see, they are quite long. Because then I can show you how it looks when taking off the mount. Before I take out the back lens group, which I also would take out. So it looks like that. The notch here is actually close to the distance mark here, just so you have a reference where a long screw should sit. So if I lift it out, it will come out in one piece. This is how it looks inside. This is the connection from the camera, and this pin over here is the one that actually push on the link arm here, and push again on the aperture plates inside. So when putting back the system, this one has to go against this one. It will look like something here. Or maybe it's better shown here. So it'll push against this pin over here. Well, so it is. There was missing one tiny ball for the aperture that makes a click, and the small spring is also missing, but anyway, it's not a problem for me. But I will also take out the back lens group, which I will see if I can do. The rubber cone here. Maybe this is more handy. Not really. So again, I will use my lens spinner tool, compass, whatever it calls. There, and have a good grip on it. Can sit tight. And then it's free. So it's more safe to work with the blades without the lens groups. And here is the back of the aperture system, which I will take out in a few seconds. In this lens, I think there was been a water damage. This spring here, this long, actually was sitting over here. So I put in another one, which I hope will make the same stretch like this one. This was very weak, so yeah, but this spring seems to work. I mean, without the oil on the blade, I would guess it will work perfect after this treatment. Now, so the 4 screws here to take out the aperture assembly. Is it just a matter of tools and patience to work with those lenses, but it's quite fun in my opinion. I see there's also tracks of film, of oil film, and the only place it comes from is the focus system. Old oil or old grease can over time come into the plates. Now flip it over, keep a hand on here and just push on it. If it's the same as the 1.7, the 55, I would guess it's the same. I don't know, but because I haven't have the aperture system out, I would guess there is a kind of a guide screw, something. Not really, but there. So tracks of rust. Okay, it's not. It hasn't damaged the inside here, so I think it will be okay. The helicoil looks a bit dry, and it feels very heavy to focus, but that's another case. So this is how it looks inside here. Here you see the small set screws, one there, and the one here, the last one. So unscrew those. Remember the mark here before you disassemble anything. It will make it so much easier for you when assemble again. Now I think I will take off the lock ring here. No. Yeah, it's the same. So I will unclick this this lock ring. Oh, falls down. Nothing special. And this ring will just come out. I would guess so, yes, no problem. But remember how it sits, and I mean, it can actually only sit one way, because the curvy part here will push against this one. So when closing down the, open, it will push on it and it will slowly open the aperture plate until stop here. so it cannot go any further. That's full open, and then it will go slowly to close the lens. And that's it, I mean the aperture. So no problem with taking that out. Just do so, and it's free. Now there is another lock ring washer here, which I also, can we focus? Yes. Just to use my tiny screwdriver. Maybe it can fit, or my, again, very handy dentist tool, which is quite handy in this case. It works in the 1.7 lens, which I actually just have made a film about. So push on it, and then it comes just out. My tweezer there, and the tiny washer here. Okay, we can just flip it over and possibly take it out. It's very thin, but we will manage to do it. Yeah, so now the spring, which I make from another camera. So, and then it's full open, and I can just take this out. So you see, take out this, and oh yes, of course, it's a bit rusty. Don't hope it will break. I think I'll take this here and then flip it out, and it's free. So that's how it looks. Nothing special about that. Now the blades are actually free. Oh, you can see all the oil film here, and also here, it's everywhere. But when we are done, there will be nothing, and the blades should run dry. So next is to unscrew those tiny set screws. I mean, just loosen them as much as you can. Could we have some focus here? See? So it's not in a way. Or maybe we should take them out so they not disappear. And the last one, which is a bit rusty, but I think it will be okay. So all three. Now there is a ring here, which is, which was the same in the 50mm. So just lift it out. I know where it should sit, so there isn't any problem with that. And then it's time to take out the blades. So it should stay on full open, and then lift out this ring to actually hold the plates in place. And then it's much easier when putting in here in a kind of, could you have some space here? Yeah, okay. Use two tools, and then it should be possible. Lift up there. So here we are. Now, so this is how it looks inside. A lot of oil. It's really not new oil. It's really old and sticky. So, and have a look inside where the plates is. So when moving the ring, it's really hard to just push on the plates. They're really sticky. But they are long, as you can see, they're long plates. But then it's time to have some alcohol. Wow. And in this case it will be 99% isopropylalcohol, which I think is good. Just make some rearrangement here so people can see what's going on. As you can see, yeah. Hold on a second, just have to have all the tiny set screws where they should stay. Now, so I will just jump the things in here and let them have a good shower, and also the plates and the link arm. I will guess it needs shower too. And probably this one. Yeah. All those parts, that's part of the Aperture system. Now the plates will go in here. They're really sticky. Wow. A lot of oil. And it's just like glue. So the only thing that needs to come out is actually the plate here that move the plates in here. It's not really sticky on the, oh yeah, it is. There was also tracks of oil here. So a shower with that. And of course part of it here, just flood it. We need some more. That's just ordinary 99%, which you can get on the Aperture or the shops who sell that stuff. And a good cloth to dry the stuff. Will be very handy. When this is done, then the Aperture system will be just like new and ready for the next 50 years or so. So it would be great to see how this lens actually performs on a digital camera with adapters on, which I like to use. Even on Fuji or Nikon, or I mean different cameras. So it looks much better. No oil film at all. Oh, something there. Now the blades need some drying. Have a gently grip with the tweezer. Yeah, it looks really much better. And another one. It's good with the Isopropyl that it takes everything away. I mean the old oil film that could be there. So okay, it's not a good cloth for this task. I will use another one. There's too much lint on it. Better, much better. To dry the Aperture plates with a cloth or something, lens is not really, it matter what you actually use. That's great. So there are some marks on one blade, but it really doesn't matter. When they are done here, they will move like new lenses. If it was new blades, I guess. So fine. And the last one. So do you mind? It actually looks really good. So, and the aperture moving ring, or whatever it calls. Looks fine. And it's a bit rusty, this small spring, but I think it will work fine. Now this ring, so and then the spring here, the lock ring. So, and the last part. It's a bit rusty inside, but I think it'll be fine. Anyway, So we are almost there. And the lid on. It stinks just a little, but not too much. Doesn't really matter if there's anything left on the outside, but on the inside this should be clean. I mean, as clean as it can be. So, then it's time to put things in place again. So here we are. And the ring that moved the blades will be something there. And of course a lot of blades. Sometimes there can sit small hairs here, but yeah. It's always the last blade that comes in that can make some trouble, but it's I will show you how it's actually done, because it's easy, so don't be afraid of that. The next last blade I put in, then I have to pull it out a bit little, something like that, and then put in the last blade. Something there goes there. And then I can just move the tiny hair. Make a circle so it's full open, and then it's actually time to put the the ring that hold the blades in place. There was just some small tracks of something. Nothing special. And then put this ring in here. The point is that, and the maybe tricky point, is to get the small pin here on each aperture blades into those holes here. it can be sometimes a bit, what do you say, tricky? Yeah. But we will manage. And since I set my mark here, I know this ring has to move a bit more to that side here. And maybe a little more. Oh, come on. Something there. And if they will not move into place, just use the pointy tool to get those pins. And this one I should guess. So here we are. Then I can move my ring back to the place where it should be when I put in the ring. And this one will actually tell me where things should sit. There's no problem even if there was oil on this ring, but so I can just put it in. So, fall in place. I can see I need to move the ring itself, so something like there. So this should, the marker I set here on the edge should be in the middle of the where the set screw is. So if I move it there, it's important. If it's not sit correct, the aperture will not be correct. Now the small set screw will come in. And I have to do this very gently. Okay, this screw, come on. Catch the thread. It can sometimes be a problem. Maybe it fits better here. Has to say click. At some point. So here we are. The next one. And it should also go in there. Do you mind? Catch the thread. Yeah. So when all four, all three screws are in place, I can make the final adjustment bit, so there, yeah. Interesting stuff. So should be there. I mean, almost. It's there. So it's in place, and the two other. Don't over tighten them. So now it's much better. They move freely. Now that was good. So it's time to put in all things again, which will be easy at some point. This thing has to sit over here, and the notch here will go into here, so, and put it over the pin here, so. Wow, great. Then the tiny washer spacer. Sits there, and the locking ring, which has to sit there. So click, and then it's in place. So now it's interesting to see if the my spare spring will do what it should do. Okay, do you mind there? And it's strong enough. So that's really good. And this rusty old spring also need to come on. It can be a little tricky, but I think we will manage to put it on. So So that's really good. Now it's time to put it back into the focus system, the focus house. So I have my distance reference. I have my small mark which I make here. So it's no problem to put it in again. I do not have to figure out, oh, where should it sit? Or should it sit correct? It's safe to do this kind of repair. and then the 4 long screws come in. Oh, just one at a time. Tighten it gently. I could have used some thread lock, but yeah, I have to disassemble it again because I would like to clean the focus assembly because it's really tight. So, and then set it to near end because I have to put this in, this ring, brass ring, which actually made the let the blades move. I could have put it in before, but no problem. So it's alive. Wow. That's great. It's always a great fun when doing a repair like this and make it to work again. I can see there's a point here, and the way the spring actually is bended, because there are some marks here, so it has to face the opposite. See, there I haven't found any repair manual for this lens, so well, it's not that hard to get into. Now that was it. Then I can move my plates when I move the aperture ring. There is enough tension in this spring, so it will pull the blades to closed. Now then I will put in the back lens group. And there is no adjustment in this case, so beware of not scratch the glass. So and then the aperture ring itself have to sit correct. It will be there, so it moves the oh, that's beautiful. Now the mount is also coming in, on. And this pin here has to go against this pin here. So let's see, because I changed this spring too. It was completely away. So let's see how it will go. Yeah, it actually works. How great. Time to put in the long screws. I do not have all the screws, but I mean, it doesn't matter, it's not a heavy lens. So in this case it's no problem. That's it. It's very good. Now the front ring here, distance mark, and I set a small mark here, actually there, so I know where it should sit. And without those reference point or marks, it can be really hard to assemble a lens you just take apart without setting any marks. Remember, there's no one to ask about, okay, how did you actually open that lens and put it back again? There's no one to ask. So therefore you have to figure it out yourself. That's it. Now the lens group, front lens group, goes in. It's a bit, what do you say, dusty. And then put in. Maybe I should set it on to far end. No, it's not really that way. Then put it in. Has to say click there, and then you can catch the thread. And then use my lens spinner. Where did it go? There. Yeah. And the nameplate. Also have to set click. Now it's easier when the lens tool is There we go. Tighten it gently. And then we're done. So now it works perfect. That's great. And can be used for the next, I don't know how many years. So I hope you enjoy the content of this old lens. So bye bye.